Apex is a pretty old game now, and the developers have made many mistakes, and many things have happened that they just want us to forget. We'll start off though with how bad the Season 1 Battle Pass was, because I know there was recent Battle Pass drama with the changes in it, and a lot of people called it the worst version of the Battle Pass, but in my opinion, this isn't the worst version of the Battle Pass. No, instead, this is. This was the original Battle Pass that came out in Season 1, and it gained a lot of negative reception. Firstly, because the cosmetics were pretty boring, but second of all, in retrospect, the rewards were just straight up bad. Instead of having a badge that's connected to your Battle Pass and levels up by 1 with every single Battle Pass level you gain, the Season 1 Battle Pass instead had a system where the badge would only be leveled up through upgrades in tiers, which meant your badge changing number to correlate to the tier you're in actually took up tiers in the Battle Pass, which was incredibly dumb. Although we very nearly had an alternate universe of the worst version of the Battle Pass ever, but luckily Respawn actually responded to the criticism towards their game. What about an heirloom that's blatantly paid to lose then? Because there is an heirloom in the game which holds a secret that could get you killed. And this heirloom secret is on Mirage. As you may notice, when he holsters his heirloom, it goes on his back. And the fact that it goes on his back isn't much of an issue, but the issue occurs when he uses any of his abilities, as his abilities are decoy related. For some reason, I don't understand why, his heirloom doesn't appear on any of his decoys. This many years on since he got his heirloom, Respawn still haven't fixed this, and it makes it extremely easy to find the real Mirage if you know what you're doing. Although in recent updates, mostly the health bar update, Mirage has massively lost his ability to confuse people with his decoys, as if you even hit him with one shot, he gets highlighted with a health bar above his head, which is very, very annoying. But hey, at least we get the coolest sliding animation when he has his heirloom out, where he just points at you. There's another heirloom thing that Respawn want you to forget, but before we talk about that, let's talk about the original firing range upgrade. As before we got firing range V2, Respawn tested a few upgrades to the original firing range that they didn't end up going through with. We know about these abandoned firing range upgrades to the original firing range from two ways. First of all, Respawn themselves accidentally showing us, and also leaks. The first upgrade plan for the firing range Respawn were tested out was adding buildings to this area right here. We know this from a blog Respawn release talking about iron sights, where they were showcasing 2 sets of iron sights, and in these screenshots you could see extra buildings that we didn't have in the game. Clearly Respawn were testing their plans for a firing range upgrade. Also in a leak we saw that Respawn were testing systems of buttons in the firing range that would do things like give you unlimited ammo or activate certain challenges, but they also scrapped this. They scrapped both of these in favour of the firing range V2, where they completely overhauled the firing range and made it 10 times better. This is one of those changes that was not controversial at all. I don't think anybody misses this place. Although I wonder how far Respawn got upgrading the original firing range before they said screw it, let's just make a new one. This next thing though is a big conspiracy that Respawn have tried to cover up, and it's to do with the Caustic heirloom. Because when it originally came out, it was meant to have a special animation, but Respawn covered up this animation's existence and never added it to the game. And this is the Caustic heirloom door kick animation. You may be aware a lot of heirlooms in the game now have door kick animations which are really fun and rare, and Caustic's heirloom was originally meant to have one. In the Fight Night patch notes from January 2021, Respawn said Caustic should now smash the door with his hammer instead of his leg if available. But this animation never made it into the game, and on top of that, Respawn removed this line from the patch notes and never talked about it again. A few people do claim that they did get an animation where Caustic smashed the door with the hammer and Respawn had to remove it because it broke the door too quick, but I've not seen any video proof. Although if there's any video proof, send it my way. But for now, the hammer smashing door animation is nothing but a conspiracy and something we'll most likely get with the Caustic heirloom recolor. Seriously though, this is one of those things that people argue over if it even existed in the game. So did you ever see it? For those mad about being cheated out of a Caustic heirloom animation, here's a playful secret Respawn have. You know the extremely cute Nessies from the April Fool's event that can be shot out of a gun to fight on your side? Well, they're actually a lot more creepy than you think. It was actually pretty simple how Respawn made these. Basically, they made a gun that shoots spiders and then made the spider invisible and attached a Nessie to it. Yes, this is true. These cute little Nessies that everyone loved, they're actually just spiders in disguise, and the developer actually confirmed this to us, which I'm not sure if it's unsettling or really clever. Sometimes you gotta love game development. Speaking of spiders though, Respawn's love for spiders goes way back, because Octane's original design was gonna be a drug addict obsessed with spiders. This is some of his early concept art. You can see how his original design was based off a spider, and he was originally going to be making stim from venomous spiders, which I think would have changed his personality. He probably wouldn't have been so cool and fun. He probably would have been an absolute weaker. I think Respawn tried to reference this original plan for Octane in one of his Twitch Prime skins, which is based off a spider, and his body's kind of been taken over by a purple spidery reptilian infection. One thing that Respawn definitely want you to forget though is something sneaky we discovered they did around the release of Ash's heirloom. As originally, before her heirloom came out, an impressive little fun fact about her was that she would use her sword in some of her melee animations on a pretty frequent basis, which was a really fun secret and made it look really cool when you were fighting enemies, because it looked like you were swording them. But with the release of her heirloom, something weird happened. She stopped using the sword entirely in animations. When rumors of this originally started circulating, I went back and found many videos of Ash meleeing and did provably find out most of the sword melee animations were removed from the game. The only way you could force a sword melee animation was to sprint and then hit, but in any other situation, she wouldn't do it, despite her doing it in previous updates. Which could have been two things: an accident when Respawn were implementing the animations for her heirloom, or just a deliberate way to make people more inclined to buy the heirloom. As this change was only realised after her heirloom came out, I even went back and checked if this was still the situation in game today, over a year later, and yes, she still only uses a sword when she sprints and melees, and in any other context, she doesn't use it, which is just plain sad. Is this a big misunderstanding? Is it a glitch, or is it a deliberate effort to get people to buy more heirlooms? We will probably never know. Another thing Respawn probably want you to forget is when they accidentally added a rude word to one of their holosprays in the Season 14 Battle Pass. This was the holospray, and the word cut was in a weird font, making it look like an inappropriate word. Because the average Apex player is probably like 12 years old, everyone immediately thought this was the funniest thing on earth, mostly because it was, and Respawn were quick to change it. They definitely realised their issue, and this was the result of many posts bullying Respawn about their silly mistake. Or was it? I mean, seriously, what font does this? Did the Respawn developer try to make a U by combining an L and an I? I guess we'll never know once again. Here's another thing Respawn probably want you to forget about. Clubs. Clubs were accidentally leaked in Season 6 and then added in Season 7, and were essentially a way to make a clan with your friends in Apex. It was pretty solid. You could share the same clan tag and also invite your friends through the club's interface, but otherwise, clubs were pretty useless. They came with a few badges, and you could also make your own club logo, but apart from that, they had nothing interesting going on for them, and no cool features or gameplay systems. Luckily though, at the time in Season 7, Respawn did say this is just the beginning for clubs, which would imply more updates would be coming for them soon, like maybe Club Wars or Club exclusive custom games, but guess what? Nothing ever came of it. Clubs remained some weird thing that nobody really used and everyone kind of forgot about until they were removed just under a year ago, to literally nobody caring. I came up with many ideas to make clubs cooler, like add custom club badges which use your club's custom icon, or maybe club cups where you could enter your club into a competition and you could fight it out, or maybe even some sort of XP boost system or currency donation system, but unfortunately Respawn just didn't have time for these and removed them from the game. Much like many of their ideas that held a lot of potential. But what from this video do you think Respawn want us to forget the most? And also, don't forget to subscribe.